can't do this.
Of course I can. I founded Cobra Kai. It belongs to me. It always has. And it always will. I will never let my students lose. Even if they have to learn the hard way. One day you'll thank me for this, Johnny.
Welcome to No Mercy, a Cobra Kai Kickback. My name is Jacob Burrows, and I represent Miyagi-Do. When I'm not kicking the competition, I'm kicking your door in.
Oh, my name is Jim Scampoli. I represent Cobra Kai because the city is crowded. My friends are away, and I'm on my own. It's too hot to handle, so I got to get up and go. Oh, the lyrics work so many ways. Welcome, Cobra Kai fans, to No Mercy Cobra Kai Kickback. I have to say, this finale is fucking awesome. Rewatching it, I know we touched on it a bit discussing last week's episode, but rewatching this episode, I was like, this is what a fucking great finale.
Yeah.
It's better than the season 1 finale. I mean, it's bigger, it's better, it's more epic. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the season 1 finale, but this is a great finale. I'd almost, in a weird way, even though it's such a cliffhanger, like fuck you ending, if there was no more episodes of Cobra Kai, I'd be all right in a weird way. Like
that is a weird way.
Even though it's such a down, like it would be such a downer if that is how it ended. Obviously I don't want that.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's a perfect, when I think of season 2 finales, I think they have to be downers. I don't know if, I mean, the biggest example that comes to my mind is the Buffy season 2 finale. And for whatever reason, this reminds me of that. And if I could refresh your memory, or if spoilers, if you haven't watched Buffy, I'm sorry. It's over 20 years at this point. But
wait. I know what happens in that episode. You don't need to say it for my sake. So are you just going to say that it's bad? You can't say what happens in season 2 finale of Buffy, surely. People haven't watched it, Jim.
All right. So I shouldn't get... Well, I'll just say it ends in a similar downer then.
Yeah, it's downer as fuck. And so is
even
this
to the
ending.
Point, well, I am going to say one thing. Where Buffy leaves, she's gone. Like, yeah. I'm going away. Whatever those things might be. But that's why I don't know. And I love that finale. And I love this finale. What do you think of this as just a finale, or is specifically a season 2 finale?
I'll answer in a moment, but I have to call out, first of all, the name of this episode. No Mercy.
Yes.
It's perfect. Of course, this is a regular crew. Directing it, John Hurwitz and Hayden Schlossberg. And story by Josh Hill, John Hurwitz, Hayden Schlossberg. Story and teleplay by Joe Pierelli and Lewin Thomas. I'm sorry, I don't know you guys very well, but I've seen you. I've seen you pop up before. Episode 8, Glory of Love. I see what you're doing. As a finale, as everything, it's like similar to what you said last week, hadn't rewatched this as many times because I've rewatched season 1 a bunch of times, but not season 2. And what sticks out to you, or to me anyway, looking back, was, what do I remember from season 2? Big fucking fight at the school is what you remember, and it goes bad for Miguel. Like, that's like the main. I was like, there was a bunch of shit for 9 episodes, and then there was a huge fucking fight. So it definitely sticks with you, almost to the point that it's like a detriment for the previous season. Because as we've said, as we've gone through, there's so much good stuff in this season that that just doesn't stick out as much, because there's a bonkers huge fight in this episode, and it's melodramatic as fuck, but you're in it. You're with them all the way. Like, the only thing with it would be that it's almost too over the top for me at times. That's what I remembered anyway. But rewatching it, I don't think that. So I don't know how my mind has shifted. But yeah, no, it's a fantastic finale. Talk about not doing an anticlimax. This is like a double climax. It's ridiculous how big this is. It's almost like, I what I remembered was like, yeah, there's a huge fight. Not exactly that it came out of nowhere, but that it's so over the top that it makes it almost unbelievable. But I think rewatching it, knowing where it's going, you see more of the traces of everything building up to it, because it's kind of about Tori and Sam and Miguel. Like, it's kind of about that. But there's like the whole season is about like Cobra Kai and antagonizing Miyagi-Do and all this stuff, and Miyagi-Do setting up this thing where they're taking free students and fucking over Cobra Kai. Like, the tensions are growing beyond that as well. We've talked a lot about Sam and Tori, but like everything just kind of comes to a head in this one. And yeah, it's in a fabulous fashion, and like what a scale of it. It's ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, on paper, you're right. Like, on paper, if someone just kind of did a quick synopsis, wrote it down, and handed you like, oh, this is like how it goes in the finale, you'd be like, this sounds ridiculous. And yeah, to an extent it is, but it works in the framework of the show, and how we've been discussing a lot about how people understanding what world they live in, and these people live in a karate world, and that's how shit's gonna go down. Yeah, but it's done so well. I mean, of course, we'll get into it, I'm sure, but you know, that one shot and just the like how epic everything is. It is a bit much that like it doesn't get stopped much sooner, because it goes on for quite a while. They kind of do a joke about why, like how it keeps going. But yeah, overall, a lot of great stuff. And yes, like you said, seeing it, knowing where things are headed when you're rewatching the season and how things are escalating. And I think we've brought up the comparison before of like, you know, the whole Batman thing of like, if I didn't exist, would the Joker exist?
Yeah.
And, you know, I guess Cobra Kai already existed either way, but I mean, obviously we see that how Daniel's feeling at the end, and you have to feel like, oh, Jesus, like we made this happen in a weird way because of our karate rivalry. We thought we were doing right by these kids, but, you know, we've got them caught up in all this bullshit. But yeah, I mean, interesting questions. Like, it got me I guess it was a good thing that I hadn't rewatched this that long ago, because I'm way more hyped for season 3, but also like more annoyed that we don't. I mean, at least at this time, we're pre-recording, so maybe by this point it's either out or we at least have an idea when it's coming out. We do know at this point it's going to Netflix, which is awesome news. But yeah, I'm just way more hyped for season 3 to see where things are going.
Yeah, and about the Joker Batman thing you mentioned, it's definitely kind of expressed in what Carmen understandably says as well, which is like, Miguel was a sweet kid before you, and like this never would have happened without you. And that's even with Johnny having the best of intentions all the way through, and even any missteps, like Miguel is his perfect student, because even like Miguel would started listening to Kreese sort of thing, but then as soon as Johnny was like, nah, that was all bullshit, he's like, oh yeah, no, I could kind of sense it was bullshit. So he's the one doing everything right and by the book as usual. And yet it gets him so messed up, and it never would have happened if not for Johnny and this sort of just, you know, natural escalation of what is essentially Daniel-san getting with Johnny's ex-girlfriend. That's why Miguel can't walk, I assume. Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
Honestly, the true villain in all of this,
Allie, you're right.
No, not even Allie. The true villain in all this, as far as Miguel's world's concerned, that put Miguel in this position, is Daniel's mother. If she just didn't take that fucking job in California and they stayed where they belonged in New Jersey, Miguel would be A-okay right now. None of this would have happened.
Yeah, Johnny would still be a piece of shit though, probably, right? He needed a kick in the face at that age. Yeah. But let's go back. I have to say, like, structurally, it's like this episode blends so much into the previous one that I think they work together very well, because it's honestly like 10 minutes into this episode, the fight starts and it goes on for 10 minutes, like over 10 minutes. And then 10 minutes is the aftermath. So you very much have a clear structure there, but it's like, it wouldn't, like, so much of this episode is this huge fight. It wouldn't make sense any other way. It's like all climax this episode. But we start with Daniel.
The most important thing that we start with is that Daniel got laid.
Yes.
And
speaking of climaxes,
yes.
Daniel got laid.
And I mean, I don't mean to sound blue here, but the show lays it on pretty thick of like, they got laid. Like, you know, we see the clothes. They have to have like little comments and jokes about it. Like, ooh, do you think the kids heard us? Yeah, they heard you. Wow, Daniel, Jesus Christ. Let's move on.
Yeah, and we do so, and Sam's not there. Weird. Are you gonna make waffles though? And then we get them all worried, checking up on where she could have gone, checking her messages because Amanda has the password, and this isn't the time to worry about why Amanda has the password.
Well, there's
kind of like.
And important details dropped is that Daniel's son Anthony has been away at camp. That's why we haven't seen him in a while. He just got back. You know,
and that camp sure transformed him. He is a different man, ready to take on the world, become the next top-selling car salesman, etc., etc.
Yeah, he wants waffles, not the frozen kind, the ones you make from scratch.
Yeah, the Sam waffles, the ones you make for your daughter who you love.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Like those waffles, Dad. For once in your goddamn life, do something for me. You've been like, talk about Amanda feeling like she's been left out. He's been off at camp. Daniel didn't even notice.
Oh, and I do like the bit of her knowing the password, because didn't she kind of give him a little shit for like creeping on Sam's laptop last season? But she's also a parent. Like she trusts herself. She knows that she'll only use that information for good.
Exactly.
But it's like here where she can help find out what's going on with Sam.
So they use the find your iPhone thing to find that she's in Reseda. What's in Reseda? Who do we know who lives there? Meanwhile, Robbie's kind of going down memory lane, just walking around being buff, looking at all these drawings he made when he was 6, looking at all these second place trophies his dad has. All the good stuff. And I don't know. There's a lot going, like the reveal at the end, obviously, which feels like not really related to what's going on. It's just a teaser for next season that Allie sent a friend request to Johnny. But there's like, I forgot about, like watching this episode, I'm like, why is there so much about Johnny's phone? The message from Miguel just is so much more important. But there's so much like, needs an update, and like puts it down. What is that about? Is that even necessary?
Yeah, well, I like it's just playing. I like that they're playing with the it just comes off as just another quick joke about Johnny doesn't understand technology, but at least it becomes a through line. And yes, the more important thing is Miguel's message, and then it leaves us hanging with the alert from Allie at the end, which I think it's still masterful stuff. I think I still really enjoy it. Sure. Johnny is frying bologna. I do want to call that out. Reminds me of Bad Santa, because in Bad Santa he fries bologna and calls it a tostada. That's a quick little info for you. I do have to say that, I mean, because we're getting to this when Daniel arrives. I mean, first they're doing this shorthand of like Robbie is realizing, because the one downside here is that we have to like fast track Robbie and Johnny, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like, we don't get to really have much of a moment to pay off this like relationship that's been obviously troubled. He's an estranged father and dealing with his son living with his rival, but they kind of have to fast track it because by the end of the episode, he's just living with his dad. So I think that's a little unfortunate. But then when we get to when Daniel arrives, I think even the most stringent, hardest Cobra Kai out there, you'd have to admit that Johnny is not handling this correctly. I think he's kind of, I get that Daniel's geeking, but why? Like, there's nothing worse than someone being like, calm down. You got to calm down right now. Like,
why are you so mad, bro?
And I know that we see when he's talking to Robbie, we know enough that Johnny is gonna do the right thing. It's just all timing, unfortunately, because he's like, I gotta let LaRusso know this is his kid, so he does understand on a basic level. But this whole like, you ain't getting in here till you calm down. Maybe it's just me, but I fucking hate that. So
I think it pushed your buttons a little bit because even though I get where you're coming from, I sided more with Johnny in this one because maybe I'm more just from his perspective, where, as you know, we know he's going to do the right thing because Daniel immediately is like, well, not immediately, but I mean, he kicks the door in. To be fair, Johnny then immediately kicks him in the gut. So, I mean, it's not, neither of them are doing a great job at sort of de-escalating. The difference being that Johnny has an advantage because he knows nothing bad is happening to his daughter. Meanwhile, Daniel doesn't know that. And I mean, what would have been the difference if Johnny just let him in? Like, yeah, she's here. It's fine. Come in. Chill out, man. I'll tell you what happened. But no, we need a fight. They need to fight, Jim. So, and I don't mind that. What do you think about these flashbacks, though? We talk about it every time.
Yeah, so this is what I was kind of alluding to last week. I don't mind these flashbacks. I like this because it's I don't know. It is borderline, I'd say, but I kind of I like it as more of serving. I mean, there's obvious parallels because they're fighting again, but it's the fact that we've seen these flashbacks so many times, it just becomes part of the show to me, where it's almost not even a flashback. It's just this looming thing this looming cloud over every single character, whether they know it or not, is the All Valley under 18 karate tournament that happened in 1984. Yeah. So it's just right there. It's almost like a dimension. It's a fourth dimension sitting in this world that's constantly on replay, and every now and then we just get a peek at it. It's like the upside down of the so that's why I don't mind it. That's the way I rationalize it.
I get what you're saying, because this is the all fight, the turning point upon which all of the universe spins. We have to come into contact with it. It's like coming into contact with a higher spiritual being. We have to just connect with this fight from time to time, because it is what drives the movement, the circular movement of the universe around which it spins. Jokes aside, I don't mind it, but I would have preferred it without it. So I don't think it ruins anything. I think it's good, but I just think that the show should, like, it already is fan service. We have wanted them to fight for ages. I'm so in it that I want to see them fight without having to see, this other fight I've seen a million times. I've seen it a million times. I know it off by heart. I would just love to be in this moment where this cool thing is happening instead of cutting to something else,
Yeah, I could see that. But like I'm with it. I'm with
Sure.
it. We do have to call out that Sam is wearing a Cobra Kai shirt. I think Daniel has to be the most furious about that.
Yeah.
And like, again, to come back to Robbie, I really feel bad for him here too. That, like, I understand Daniel's upset with him, but I mean, again, he just gets like completely dropped. Like, he's like, Daniel is like, this is like the second time he's completely disowned him, because he did it before when he found out that Johnny was his father.
It's like, okay, bye, second dad. This happens again every time, I guess. I get attached to anyone. Bye.
And I mean, I'm sure they'll explore a little bit more of both of those, like, because we've pointed out some faults with whether it be the actor or the character of Robbie, but I feel like this kind of proves he's getting a little bit of the short end of the stick here, because these are some of his important plot lines that are kind of being brushed aside. I get it. They don't quite have time to fully explore this yet, but like, again, just rushing him back with Johnny, completely dropping him with Daniel, I think it does him a small disservice.
Yeah, I think so, because also, like you said, at the end, he's like living with Johnny, but like, what's that situation given that Johnny just like left his car in the street, threw his phone into the ocean? Oh, well, and this is all because Miguel got fucked up real bad by his own son. So it's his two sons killing each other. One of them was in the hospital. The other one, he's going to go home and make fucking fry some bologna for. Well, I think
they do insinuate that after the fight, Robbie's gone. Like, I think Robbie has taken off at this point.
Okay, yeah.
And honestly, like,
Okinawa, I get it.
Yeah, because I guess I don't know if this is a spoiler. The creators have been very open about Okinawa playing a part in season 3, and I guess again because I didn't rewatch this in a while, I just assumed Daniel for sure. I completely forgot about the Robbie situation because he does find the book, so it does look like I guess he's just jet setting. He's off. I assumed Okinawa was going to somehow play a part in Miguel's situation, but
I wouldn't rule it out. I think Miguel. I don't think it's going to be traditional medicine that heals Miguel. That's all I'll say.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
But yeah, no, the book is a great call out as well because the book, of course, from Karate Kid Part 2, which has, Robbie, to be fair to him, he's been like accepted by the second family, but he lives in the karate dojo. He doesn't have like the Anthony Jr. goes around with his switch all the time. There's no switch for Robbie. He's just got to read whatever's laying around. He's doing the same exact thing at Real Dad's place. He's just reading these, like looking at these drawings and trophies. He doesn't have, I assume, any money or any agency in the media he consumed. So it's literally just there. So he reads it. Though, to be fair, I'm sure he's interested in it as well because he has the training and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely feels like an Easter egg now that you look back. Like, that's definitely foreshadowing, I feel. But maybe it doesn't pan out. Maybe it's only like, yeah, I was going to go to Okinawa, but them tickets are expensive, bitch. Maybe he'll say that next season.
Yeah, because that's what I was even thinking financially, but I guess how he's going to make it there. But I would also, I guess I would understand if I almost murdered someone and I had to get out of the country in a flat,
liquidate some assets,
and you go to Okinawa. But yeah, I mean, he was going to try to take the blame, but Daniel's like, you want to be like your dad? Fuck you, piece of shit.
They both get the blame, yeah. And like Robbie, again, we've varying feelings on him, but I don't think it has to do much with like. I don't know. It's just like he doesn't necessarily get the space he needs as a character, but you gotta love him when he's taking on the role of the truth speaker and says that maybe you guys can learn a thing or two from each other. Like that's what we've been saying all along. That's like the whole point of Cobra Kai is that. So he gets to verbalize it.
And I mean, he does talk. And he in that same that's when he's being dropped off by Johnny at school. And he does say that like Miyagi-Do like helped him and taught him a lot, but I mean, I guess as we see, it didn't teach him mercy. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just too much of that inner turmoil and teenage angst. It didn't beat all that out of him yet. But yeah, we are at the first day of school. We hear the classic "Cruel Summer" at this point from the Karate Kid movie. Bananarama is playing, and it is a great going back to school song, isn't it? I think it works really well here. And I forgot that. Oh yeah, this is supposed to be the first day of school when this shit goes down.
Yeah,
what a great first day of school at West Valley High.
That's true. It's not one of those boring high schools. This is not the OC high school where I don't remember the most exciting thing to happen there, but this is the first day of school. What are you going to do like for homecoming? I don't even know.
I do like the Trapper Keeper joke when John's like, Trapper Keeper's still cool. And then Robbie's like, I don't know what that is.
Relatable. I don't know what that is.
They're oh, Jesus.
I've heard them talked about. But like, I'm sure if I had one, it had a different Swedish name, like a Flurgenblurgen or
it's
something.
It's basically just a binder. But it would have a cool design in Velcro on it. And it was just a Trapper Keeper. You put your notebooks and stuff in there. And then it would you'd have a nice Velcro cover. I Googled it real quick. There's an R2-D2 one I'm looking at. Yeah,
I Googled it too. We did have these. They just weren't called that. So yeah, I am a Johnny. I'm not a Robbie.
So then what else is going on over here? First day of school.
This means Robbie gets a chance to talk to Sam for the first time since the party and everything. I don't remember how much time is supposed to have passed, but it doesn't really matter. She's hella awkward because she kissed her ex, and it's great. You gotta love it as well when he tells the truth about the medal. Like, sure, great to get that off my chest. We get a classic, Robbie bell rings, saved by the bell, or should I say damned by the bell, because she doesn't get to get anything off her chest before it is taken out in the worst fashion possible that he finds this out. And of course, he's not going to be able to show mercy when Miguel's screaming, "She loves me, not you," which is not very merciful either.
Yeah, that's true. And going back to, there is kind of a time frame because when we see Miguel's phone, he had texted Tori Saturday night at 11:40 p.m. The cops just came. We got to go. Then Sunday at 12:07, are you okay? And then it says today 8:24 a.m. So I mean, it could just be 2 days. I'll say if maybe I'll give him school start on a Wednesday. So at the very least, a few days later. But she's been missing. Sam gets dropped off by Daniel because of course she's grounded after that stunt she pulled.
Yeah.
And yeah, but going back to what you're talking about, yeah, when Robbie and Sam, and he tells the truth, and it should almost be, I mean, if you watch enough TV shows and movies, it should be a complete fucking red alert, like, oh no. Oh no, he's doing the right thing and communicating. Going back to what Cobra Kai's kids said back when we were discussing the premiere of this season of like, if people just talked about things, it'd be great. Yeah. And if the timing happens where things seem like they're going good, that means bad shit's about to go down.
Oh, for sure, for sure. We get someone doing like announcements between Community and which I've been rewatching, and I guess like the new Spider-Man movies. I get the sense that like someone doing a wacky announcement. Is this just is this a real thing? We get to this common segment on No Mercy where I go, Jim, my American friend, is this an actual thing, or am I just being brainwashed by movies and television into thinking someone trying to do a fun thing, but it's just awkward on the loudspeaker in the school? Is this a real thing?
At least when I was in high school, there'd be announcements every now and then, but it wasn't like a regular thing. I'm sure there are some schools that have like every single day, but there's definitely no way someone would be able to sneak in and get on the loudspeaker. That did not happen. Maybe it happened once, like, oh, remember back in '67 when Smitty got in to school? That was epic. We're still talking about it to this day. Although nowadays, I assume they would have like
video.
I guess like in Spider-Man, they do have the video. Yeah, they just have a video thing that's beamed into every classroom. So I assume that would be the way to go.
Well, yeah. I mean, I only ask because I'm like, I feel like me and Jim would be on that thing if it was like, we'd be talking bullshit, cracking wise, giving some quick show reviews on there. But anyway, we have Miguel. He's a bit torn up about everything happening, like you said, trying to reach Tori, chatting with Hawk, and mentions that he kissed Sab, and Hawk's like, nice, like Hawk being total bro, saying, why limit yourself to one chick? And then some guy comes up and says, there's nothing to be ashamed of about your bedwetting thing that you did for years and years. Tells him to fuck off. And yeah, I guess we don't really get to explore that other than, remind everyone that Eli's still mad.
Yeah, a reminder, and kind of, it's like it's also just a lingering thing. Like, it's supposed to be a new school year. He's supposed to be back as cool guy, but then there's now this word getting around school that he's still lame ass.
Lame guy, yeah.
Meanwhile, Stingray's interviewing to be school security, which is hilarious. He's still banned.
Did this feel to you like a kind of like a tease that it might be Kreese? Because, we have an over-the-shoulder shot. He's blurred out. Because I kind of was like, are they trying to say this could be Kreese? Because the wording is like, talking about... I don't know. That was my thinking anyway. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it.
No, that's fun. I like that. I like that as like a quick, like, double, like, fake out.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty fun.
Because he's because he even says, like, I mean, your resume is a little spotty. Like, do you have any actual security guard experience, Mr.? And I'm like, Mr. Kreese is the Mr. we've heard the most about in this show. But it's, and then it cuts and it's Stingray. So to me, that was a fun reveal anyway.
So, yeah, I do. And going back to the announcer or the loudspeaker, it is a pretty epic way to call out your enemy, your rival. It's to like wrestle away the microphone and, Samantha LaRusso, I know what you did. And everyone's like, fuck, shit's going down. It's great. And like you said, we're only like 11 minutes into the episode and shit's already about to hit the fan.
Basically, we have metal music for 10 minutes now and a huge fight. And we can comment on parts of the fight. But I mean, the show is like, this is badass, and the show is telling us this is really badass with how it's cut and put together, like the music and everything. Then obviously it ends in tragedy. It's just like the show has always had like cool kicks, and we're like, well, we know that in our human flesh world your teeth would fly out if that happened, but it doesn't happen in Cobra Kai. So when Miguel's going to get injured, it needs to be a really bad thing that gets him, because otherwise it would have been like, well, they've done this to each other a million times, but it has to be like properly bad, super epic build up, super huge fight, everyone's running, fighting, and of course Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do, they're just breaking out into their own fights all over the place. We have all these characters who've been conflicting over the whole season, squaring up against each other. It's fantastic stuff, Jim.
Plus, I mean, there's nothing better than someone running down a hallway.
Yeah.
And I mean, people that make movies and TV shows are quite aware of this. So
we got two of them as well, because both Robbie and Miguel are running there, and like everyone except Tori wants to stop this fight from the start, right? But it's just the happenstance of all the reveals and everything has just turned it into there's just going to be hella fighting with everyone, because Miguel's going to rush at Robbie because I guess he's like threatening Tori or whatever, it seems like it. And of course Hawk, his shot when he's like, oh, it's on, and just goes down the hallway fucking people up until he gets tackled. It's great stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like we get the reveal that she kissed Miguel, and that's the first Robbie's hearing of it. So he's trying to process that. But meanwhile, this badass fight's going. And as you said, he's trying to break it up, but Miguel shows up. Timing wise, it just looks like, what is he doing? He's attacking Tori, and now they're fighting. And then we get into the one shot, which is great, where we have someone will get thrown to the ground and the camera follows them, so we can then pick up and check in on like another fight that's going on, and then that person will get thrown and slide on the ground, and we pick back up with Miguel and Robbie. Like, awesome stuff. It's fucking kick ass. I do like that they have to throw in some like generic people and make sure they wear Cobra Kai shirts so we know that they're Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I was also thinking that, but to be fair, the merch is well established at this point.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It gives credence to how they were establishing that merch throughout the season, so it wouldn't be out of place that people were wearing their Cobra Kai gear to school.
For sure. Actually, one of my favorite shots has to be, I mean, there's loads of them, but especially when all the fights are going on at the same time and we're just like brought through the whole thing. The camera's like doing its own dance between all these things, that it's so well, like not just the fights choreographed, but with how it works with the camera and everything. It's just great stuff. But you gotta love when Stingray goes into action and is actually effective as well. That's a great shot when he just walks down, and I guess he's just fucking up Miyagi-Do. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he does get to give Hawk a high five and kick some Miyagi-Do's ass, or hit somebody he does hit a guy with his own ass as well. So it's a great moment.
He's found the one job where he can legally fight children, which is what he does in his spare time anyway. So I, for one, think it's a perfect fit.
And as I was saying, they do make a joke of how the way it doesn't get broken up, because we see that teacher get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And then the other teacher, because it's a funny gag when Dimitri's like, well, the other Miyagi-Do guy's like, we got to do something. And Dimitri's like, yeah, I'll go get a teacher. And he runs off. And when he shows up with the teacher, it's perfect timing where that guy has to be like, they don't pay me enough. And I mean, yeah, if I was a teacher and this was happening, I'd be saying the same thing. They don't pay me enough for this shit.
Yeah, no, I just go in the library or the archives or whatever. What? I didn't hear about a fight. What? I don't know what you're talking about. But everyone else has. So we've talked a lot about the bystanders in this karate universe. The amount of hype and excitement from the other students about the fight going on is unreal, but I guess realistic. Because like, imagine if this actually happened and everyone's got their phones out, because of course everyone's got their phones out. It just makes perfect sense. But it's just huge. It's insane.
The only thing that doesn't ring true is that no one's yelling World Star.
Yeah, very true.
Someone should have yelled World Star. And actually, if you tally it up, Miyagi-Do wins every fight.
Really?
Technically, Miguel wins his fight. But I mean, not really. But I mean, we have the one guy that's like, you should have stayed, Cobra Kai. And I mean, the dude gets up. I guess it's not very Miyagi-Do that then he gets up and hits him with a book.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to comment on that, where those two characters have been in the season, but I don't remember their names. I'm sorry, guys. But like, and also they're like, they don't have very distinct personality because they feel like they've not been given enough. Because it is a very tight show. Like the episodes are short and it's very effective storytelling, which also means that the background characters, even though we know one of them joined Miyagi-Do and the other one stayed, it's still like him hitting him with a book isn't really like thematically relevant in any way. Because he even says afterwards, he says, "Now who's badass?" It's not even book related pun. I mean, come on, guy.
Yeah. Now who's book smart?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
We have that, and then of course we have Hawks chasing down Dimitri the whole time, and then Dimitri does get hit. I mean, first he's hiding in the computer lab, but he does get his comeuppance when like the muscle memory kicks in, and he starts blocking some shots, and he catches Hawk, and he fucking tosses him in the trophies. Although actually I have to go back to Bert and Nate have their fight.
I was gonna say, is there a clear winner there, Jim? Because I think security guard picks them both up or something.
I would argue though that Nate wins because he gets on top of him, and that's when it gets broken up. Nate's on top because he gets his glasses broke, and then he starts, he's like, that's a big mistake or whatever, and he starts kicking ass. It does get broken up, but I would give it to Nate on that fight.
Okay. I do want to pause on our friend Dimitri, because I feel like his climax on a rewatch, because he's had such a slow build, is just extra satisfying. Yes. It's great to see him kick Hawk, who he wants to be his friend still, like even after pouring drink on him and all this stuff. And I mean, yeah, he kind of did the worst thing most recently about talking hella shit about his bedwetting and everything, but like he would still be he would still be Eli's friend tomorrow. And he'd even be friends with Hawk, because he, much like Samantha LaRusso, has nobody else in his life. But no, so he even says like, sorry. Like, I feel like this is, I still think like, I think this is the worst we're going to see their relationship. I think they're going to become friends next season, but maybe I'm insane, because of course we know that Hawk is in the clutches of Kreese, so he can become the worst personification of what Cobra Kai could be. So maybe I'm totally wrong, but I just feel like there's some hope there after this, because you know what? This whole season, not for his own sake, Dimitri didn't need to kick Hawk's ass, but Hawk needed Dimitri to kick his ass. Much like Johnny needed a kick to the face.
You're right. He kind of needed to be put in his place. And I mean, I guess the bedwetting reveal was almost like maybe supposed to be something to put in his place, but obviously it's going to make him matter. Yeah. Well, yeah, he hits him with a, hey, no hard feelings, but then tosses him in the trophy case. But I completely agree with you. Dimitri would still be friends with Eli or Hawk,
tomorrow. Yeah. So Tori and Sam are fighting on the stairs. They've all gone up the stairs at this point, very ominous stairs. Like, you gotta hand it to him as well, the way that you're never confused about the space in any of this. Imagine a fight with this many moving parts and how easily it can get messy in the way it's directed and edited and put together. It's super clear in the corridors what's happening. We're following it the whole way through, and when they come out here, you have loads of people rushing down the stairs, making you aware of the existence of this big drop, and like then they fight their way up the stairs again, showing what a drop that would be if something bad happened. So it's just great establishing all around before we get to the most important moments of the fight, where of course Sam, like, Tori just takes out what are these called, these metal things, like
I mean, it's almost like it's like a bracelet or something, but she's using it like brass knuckles or like spiked knuckles, basically, because as Sam says something like, "Oh, is that they teach you like fighting dirty?" And then she says, "Hey, this isn't a tournament. There are no rules," which does build to a classic villain shot, hero in peril, as she like has to show her the spikes before she tells her the no mercy. But our hero prevails because she hits it with a sweet block and kind of she tosses her over a railing. Not quite as big of a drop though, just falls on some stairs, but she wins.
She does wins. I mean, Tori, even though, like you said, is very badass calling out her enemy on the PA system and all, this is really bad for her just personally. Just like, she's already like causing a huge fight at this school. I guess she doesn't attend the school anyway or whatever. She probably goes to some other school. I don't know. Or no, she doesn't, because they're talking about it's bad to miss the first day of school. So she is supposed to go to this same school. So she starts this enormous fight. And not only that, she's so willing to not just beat Sam up, she's also going to escalate it to actually draw actual blood from this human being and, I don't know, kill them? Because she's about to hammer these pointy things into her throat, which does kill a human. When that happens to a human, they do die. So I'm like, Tori, this is like, I know you've had like an inner darkness in you this whole way through. It's kind of part of why you're exciting as a character, but geez, it's a lot to do in a school environment. I'm not saying don't kill her, but maybe in an alley, maybe not in school where there's probably cameras, right?
So, well, and the other thing now, since we're still in it, we're talking about this epic fight that happens. It's so well done. It's great. But yeah, you're hitting on something, because she is getting into like, that is like attempted murder now, or she's like at the very least like disfigure someone. So is this the parallel of Karate Kid 2, where Karate Kid 2 we're in a fight to the death?
What you're saying is season 1 is Karate Kid, and now we're in Karate Kid Part 2 because the stakes have been raised, right?
Yeah. Because I think I've seen a lot of headlines or different things online of like, how are they going to top this? But obviously, I don't think in season 3 you try to go. You're not worrying about going epic and trying to top this, right? That's my read, anyways. What do you think?
Well, it's probably like you said in the Karate Kid Part 3. They're just at a tournament again.
Yeah.
But the tournament is made more important through. I think maybe season 3 they have to deal with the capitalist system, because Terry Silver is the villain in Karate Kid Part 3, and he is an oligarch. He is a billionaire and thus evil, ahead of its time. So I think in season 3 they're all going to join forces against the evil of capitalism. That's my take.
I think you're going season 4, because I think first we have to take on Kreese, and then season 4, yes, we have to take on capitalism.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean Terry Silver. Let's just have him back. He's gonna be, and maybe he doesn't show up until the end. Where, you know what? There's gonna be a Cobra Kai on every fucking street corner, just like he said all those years ago. But it's gonna be a Kreese branded Cobra Kai, funded by Terry Silver. Maybe. Same.
Well, because I honestly like. We'll get to the point where it's not even karate anymore. It's like. Johnny will end season 3 by like winning back his dojo by defeating Kreese, and then Terry Silver will show up, but it won't be a karate battle because he'll have his lawyers with him, and he owns Cobra Kai, and it's like, well, I'll see you in court, buddy, and now
that's
the trademark and all this merch you've been releasing, beach towels, Johnny. You owe me quite a bit. For all this merch you've been selling on a trademark that I own, Terry Silver.
I was actually like, on my first watch, I thought that's how Kreese was going to get the dojo in the end, because he did start Cobra Kai. They keep talking about it, but like, there's no law, I guess, in this world. We can see that from the events of this episode. And I always thought it was going to be some finagly thing where he's like, yes, but I registered Cobra Kai as a trademark and you've been doing this illegally. But it literally is resolved so quickly with him just going, your landlord hates you, which makes perfect sense. But I always thought it would be that thing that you're saying, because really, Johnny, as a student, he paid fees to attend classes at Cobra Kai. He has no affiliation with the trademark beyond that, and yet he's making all this money, presumably Miguel's thing. So if Kreese and or Terry Silver, again, I would prefer to see Terry Silver as like a chilled out kindergarten teacher or something. But if he comes back and he's evil, I feel like it's gonna be law time at some point over the Cobra Kai brand.
I feel like I feel like we're definitely gonna see at least a portion of that, something to do with the trademark or the rights. But we're not there yet. We're back at the school. Epic fight going on. We still have Miguel and Robbie. Now, I do want to call out this fucking double kick that Robbie does, where Miguel catches his foot, but he somehow launches up and kicks him in the face with his other foot. Wow, what a great move. It's like
is that? Oh, yeah. That's when against the wall, right?
Yes, yeah, against the wall.
But he's conveniently out of shot when he does that, his upper body.
Yeah.
I feel like he's attached to many wires, but what do I know?
Exactly. I mean, we do know that he did the double kick in a tournament, so I guess he can fly and do stuff like that.
Right.
But it's heartbreaking because, as I've said many times, Miguel is the heart and soul of this show. And again, flashbacks, but I think these flashbacks are fine and they do work because we're in Miguel's head. And as you've already pointed out, Miguel is literally the best student, and he's even picking up on the new Cobra Kai, the new Johnny Lawrence Cobra Kai of like, you can win with honor. Like, because I mean, was he about to like break his arm? Like, because he has him down and he's got his arm in that position. I guess he could have broke it, but he shows mercy. But then, the show throws us for a loop because that doesn't work out for him. That ends up with him being kicked over a fucking railing.
Yeah, showing mercy is bad in this, but it's stepping back for a moment. It's like this Miguel and Robbie fight is really intense, and I have to wonder: is it? I mean, it works, but is it just? But there's a lot of like screaming and like it's kind of, we haven't seen Miguel this seemingly out of control, and it makes kind of more sense for Robbie to be out of control at this point because he just found out that he kissed his girlfriend or what have you. But for Miguel, I mean, I guess it makes sense because he just got punched in the face by his current girlfriend as well, and but he's been fighting to stop the whole thing all along. So I'm just trying to trace the steps of the fight there, figure out why there's so much intensity, because I think part of it is that we cut away, we cut to a different part of the fight, but we have Robbie yelling like that's for taking advantage of Sam because he knows Sam was really drunk at the time. And Miguel yells back that that's not what happened. And then there's an intercut and we see a different part of the fight. I think it's where we have Sam and with the, with the spikes and all, the finishing of that part of the fight with Tori. And then we have Eli as well. And then we go back to Robbie and Miguel. And that's where Miguel's like, she loves me, she doesn't love you, which seems so out of character in a little way, because he is just trying to stop the fighting, right? But it must be partially just they've been fighting for so long that you're just mad and you want to fuck them up and end the fight, right? Like that's what's taking over. But yeah, he does yell that at him. Which,
it is a bit much,
But I guess that's the answer to the previous question. It's just there's two other fights in between. Because he's kind of like, why did it happen then? And if he then yells back, because she loves me and not you, then it makes sense. But it feels like it comes out of nowhere just because of it, the way it's cut. But that's my one tiny nitpick with like the flow of the battle. And I don't even think it's a real problem. It's just like, it's a lot of intensity coming out of Miguel here. And even if it is like, we just expect Miguel to be the best all the time. Yeah, we also relate to this feeling, I think, that he's having because he's just frustrated and a teenager and things hasn't worked out his way and everyone's just fighting. And so he's just dealing with what's in front of him and fucking Robbie up. And Robbie, like, remember when he found out that Robbie was his sensei's son? Like, there's a lot of stuff behind all of this. But yeah, we get a flashback about mercy and honor. And he kind of shows mercy, he does. He just hesitates. And, everyone else later is like, oh, it was your fault. Your way of to Johnny. It's your way of teaching that caused this to happen. I guess they all must have watched the World Star videos to see what happened up there because everyone was lying on the floor at this point, clutching their bruises and broken bones along the hallways of the school. Like, all the Cobra Kai students couldn't possibly see exactly what happened. So they must have been on World Star figuring out that he did show mercy.
Yeah, plus, I mean, Kreese is there. Kreese is in their ear, and he's like, you see what Sensei, what happens when you listen to Sensei Lawrence?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bum out. Miguel takes the fall. We kind of cut back to the parents who are, they're oblivious. Johnny's just mounting his TV. I guess because this is before the news, so Daniel, he pulls the book out. I guess that's kind of a moment of him realizing like, oh, I just fucking yelled at this kid and abandoned him in a way. So I guess it's kind of playing a little bit to a moment there. And then they get the call. And then we have, Johnny's phone again. His contacts. What's going on? Importing contacts. And he hears Carmen screaming. and Miguel's in the hospital. And that's where we had mentioned that you'd mentioned it earlier that she blames Johnny for this because, yeah, he was a sweet boy and now he's getting into fights all the time and he got knocked off a railing.
Yeah, sure did. Never want to see you again. We have Sam looking like very much messed up and also like just bawling her eyes out. It's kind of, even though we make fun of Sam a fair bit, but I feel like this is kind of heartbreaking to watch. No?
But also, I agree. I agree with that. But going back real quick to the fight, the way that they're like, it is a little bit much that they're like, Robbie, what did you do? And it's like, did you not know that everyone was fighting? I guess in a weird way, I remembered it as like Robbie purposely kicked him over the railing, I guess. I guess I remembered it differently. I remembered that maybe he hesitated for a second, then just did it. But it is kind of like spur of the moment. They're just in the fight. Given he did have mercy shown to him and he fights back, but he didn't. It's not like he was like, I'm going to kick him off the railing. It's just like, no, we're just doing the fight that we've been doing for the last 30 minutes.
Which, and to be fair, Miguel originally tackled him when he was trying to stop the fight. They're both trying to stop the fight, but they don't know the other one's trying to stop the fight. And also, to be fair to Robbie, right? So if you play it back, and I'm sure a lot of people have, if you play it back and you pause it when he kicks him, kicks him over, he kicks him and he bumps into the railing, and in the next shot, he's flying over it. And to be fair to Robbie, there's physically no way that could happen. The way you're looking at it, it is impossible that could happen. So the fact that he's surprised at his own strength, he should be. It's very clearly not intentional. And I think all of the videos taken and put on WorldStar will show that it was not an active choice to try to murder this kid, because a miracle happened and he was lifted off his feet and flung off the railing, even though that couldn't happen. I joke, of course.
The only way that would have happened is if he busted out the double kick from the tournament. If it was a double kick, I'd buy it. But now I think you're onto something. Conspiracy-wise, Miguel threw himself off the balcony to fully get revenge on Robbie.
Honestly, if you play it back, it kind of looks like he could not have gone over without at least some momentum on his own part. But Robbie should have known that regular physics don't always apply in the world of karate. So
I mean, he should have known it because he just did a double kick.
Yes,
where he flew into the sky. I mean, we're nitpicking. We get it. We're nitpicking, but it's fine.
Yeah. So Sam bawling her eyes out. She very much genuinely doesn't care about like what happens to Tori. She's just super worried about Miguel and what happened. Like, because I think everything as well is just bringing, like, she was already getting flashbacks to season 1 all the time about her feelings about Miguel. It's clearly not completely resolved, but then also just feeling that it's literally her fault that the fight started because she kissed him when she shouldn't have, and then everything just getting completely out of control. It's kind of heartbreaking to watch. And she wouldn't put the blame on Robbie either. She puts it all on herself. Classic.
And then you double that up with Johnny looking at Miguel in the hospital and he gets the voicemail.
Yeah.
Choked up because he's like talking about going to get a burger and he's like, oh, I'm having girl problems. And the fact that he didn't answer it because, he was dealing with Robbie, but it's not that he was, it's not like he was shoving Miguel off like Daniel did to Robbie. It's just that Robbie was his son and he had something to take care of. But yeah. And I mean, going back to like loving the Johnny Miguel relationship it's perfect TV finale placement of those moments where things are really coming to a head. And Johnny, obviously, between Carmen is blaming him and he's probably blaming himself, obviously. Well executed.
Yeah, and the elevator scene with Daniel and Johnny's kind of genius as well.
Yes.
Especially on a second look through or a watch through of the season where, like, I mean, in part it's just they're both in shock, but also like they've always blamed everything bad that's happened in this world on each other. And this time I think they're both feeling the guilt of it. I mean, maybe Daniel a little less so because, but it's Robbie was his student. He taught him everything he knows pretty much. And he's the one who kicked this kid who is Johnny's student. Like, it's not Johnny's student showed mercy. I don't know how much of the particulars they know, but Johnny's student did show mercy and Daniel's didn't. And like Amanda, you can understand why she says no more karate, which does seem like obviously a Daniel without any karate in his life. Not, it wouldn't just be Daniel from like season 1 where he's just selling cars. It would be an empty Daniel, a Daniel that has like no drive behind him. And I am going to be interested to see where that goes as well, because basically we end the season with there's no Cobra Kai, but there's no Miyagi-Do either. I mean, there is Cobra Kai, of course, you know what I mean.
But yeah, no Johnny Cobra Kai, and then no Miyagi-Do, and basically like you'd assume karate would be like banned, and like parents aren't going to want their kids in karate. And going back to the elevator scene, it's such a smart move in restraint to not have dialogue or anything there and just let the moment play. I think people maybe be too tempted to even have like a line or something like that, but it's such a better moment that it just kind of lingers. And like you said, it's all there anyways. They blame each other, but also they're blaming themselves and the guilt that this is their fault. But then no worries, because Johnny is once again buzz driving because he pulls up to Cobra Kai. He's got a bottle in his hand. And I mean, I guess he is just unscrewing it, but I feel like he's sauced up a little bit. And I know I harp on this, but I have to point it out. This guy's always drunk driving, but he's good at it.
Yeah. Sure is. He does leave the bottle out. No, does he leave it outside? Yeah, but you're right. It probably wasn't empty. But the thing he notices is the door is open, and so he wanders in. And this shot obviously is like parallel to the one we talked about with Hawk, where Hawk moves in and goes into the back room, and that's where Kreese is sort of lurking. Like the darkest part of the dojo is where Kreese lives. And this is the same thing. I don't think I would have connected those dots without this shot as well, where we have Johnny going through his own Cobra Kai that he created, but it's empty now. There's no one there. They've all moved to the back room where Kreese is the captain now. And he, to be fair, I guess it's encouraging to see it's not like a full group of students, because if it was like all of them, it would be kind of like, I don't know, difficult to see. It's only like half a dozen, 8 or 9 or something. And we see like the hardcore students. To be fair, it's like late at night, and they've come here basically. They've come here exactly like Hawk did originally, because Hawk was having trouble with Moon, and he came back here, and Kreese was there like, yes, let your hatred fuel your emotion or your fighting, ha ha ha. And he's doing the same here, where this has just happened. I mean, we know Johnny just came from the hospital, so they're here not to train because it's a regular session, but because something happened to one of their own, part of their quiver. And all they can do is close ranks, and Kreese is right there to say the exact wrong things to them at the exact right time.
Yeah. They're fully bought in. It is like the way Kreese speaks now of like a war. Like, I guess all those things are sinking in. And I mean, what an important absence is Bert's not there. Why is Bert not there?
I don't know. He's still in the clink. That security guard put him away.
But yes, I mean, like, how do you pile it on even more for a finale? I mean, Johnny's lost his new love interest in Carmen. He's lost his son, assumingly, because, like I said, I believe that Robbie's gone. I mean, he's already kind of lost him, and he's also lost his second son in Miguel. And not only did he lose him, but like Miguel is, fighting for his life, obviously very hurt. And now what else can you take away from him, but also Cobra Kai? And I mean, he even just say after, Kreese gives his whole speech, like, this is my thing. And Kreese is kind of pitching this almost as a lesson, where he's Johnny as his student. And that's why he says, one day you'll thank me for this, because he doesn't let his students lose. But Johnny basically does say this was a mistake. And I think he just means in general, like getting back to this and starting Cobra Kai. And that's led us on this path. And that's when we follow we get some more Johnny flashbacks as well. But again, I don't have problems with any of these flashbacks, because we have him and Miguel, like at the burger spot when he gave Miguel, the gi, and because we're in his head and, you know, going over all his choices that he's made and what's led to this point here, and sad, cruel summer plays and Bill.
Yeah, it was like the bit that the bits I remembered, like looking back on season 2, was like it ends with a huge fight. Miguel's really fucked up, and I remember Johnny sitting on the beach, super sad. I didn't even remember like the phone reveal that we actually end with. It was like him, super sad, lost Cobra Kai. He has nothing again. I forgot, but it's like kind of hilarious and great and horrible that he just tosses the keys into his car. Is like, fuck this car. And I'm like, dude, you don't have a dojo. You're not going to be able to pay rent anymore. I don't know what you're thinking here, but it just makes sense for the moment he's in. He's hit rock bottom real hard. He thought he was at rock bottom at the start of season 1, but nope, that wasn't it. This is it, man. And this was all a mistake. I just can't wait. I hope we get right to him learning fucking Miyagi-Do, like fucking like I guess it will take a season or whatever, but like I can't wait to see him meditate and just get better. I hope so, at least. I mean, there's nowhere to go but up from here, right, Jim?
I don't know. You never know, man. Things could get worse. The intercut in with that, there is also a sad shot of Daniel taking down Mr. Miyagi's picture and kind of apologizing. Yeah. Because, you know, he blames himself as well. And yeah, like I've read people discuss how you can't ever have Daniel and Johnny team up because it ruins the dynamic of the show. And I guess I get that, but it's also inevitable, right? Like the way the show is, it's inevitable that maybe it won't be this best friends team up. But I mean, especially with Kreese, they're going to have to learn from each other and maybe make something new. You know, if we're looking ahead, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've wanted that all along. I guess I could see how you wouldn't want that to happen, and then to be like, there's 5 more seasons where they become enemies again, and then like because we're teasing. Well, right now we're getting to a point where we're teasing it, and then we pull it back. We're teasing and pull it back. We're basically edging with how close their friendship is going to get, and if we go all the way with it, it would be hard to sort of continue the show for ages and ages. I guess I get that commentary on why it quote can't happen, but the only reason it wouldn't happen is that they're too afraid to go all the way with the potential of the show, right? Because they, like you were saying, it's inevitable in a way because just naturally that feels like where the story should go. And even if they're like not best friends, like you said, I think they'll be best friends in the last episode. That's my hope anyway. But like we can have many seasons before then, between here and there, where they have to work together but totally disagree about everything anyway. That's what I think and hope.
Yeah, they like an odd couple relationship. Like, we're always bickering, but we love each other. So I mean, the show's always about timing. Again, going back to even like the beginning of this episode with the Daniel and Johnny fight. If Johnny had just made that call a little bit earlier, things maybe would have chilled a little bit. But with the spot that Johnny's in, because I know we end on this Allie with an I sends you a friend request. I still don't think it would even been enough. I guess it would have been kind of a small light at the end of the tunnel to like, maybe if you got to talk with Allie, things could get more into his perspective. But I don't know. Johnny's in a dark place. I don't even think Allie with an I can save him right now.
I don't think so either. And I think, I don't know, it's just, it's like more for it wouldn't have mattered much in this situation anyway, because friend request is nothing. It doesn't mean like if it was a message or she tried to call you, maybe that would mean something. But I don't know. It's more for the audience than it is for Johnny.
And honestly, I mean, unfortunately, the one man that could save Johnny in this moment, he's not amongst the living right now, and that of course is Mr. Miyagi. But that's why the next best thing would be Miyagi-Do.
Yeah, exactly. I have to call out before I forget. So we've talked about Kreese this season and like his motivations and how he's always giving an evil smile to the camera. Like in this, when he explains what happens, he says when you were out of town, that's when he talked to the landlord. So before they have their fight, where where Johnny tells him to go away forever. At that point, he already owns the dojo. So like his sad, this is like, oh, I'm so sad, walk away, all of this. He already is the one who is paying the rent. He's already talked to the landlord and everything. So like he was doing this evil thing all along. I guess it's even back when he was out seeing his old quiver, his old friends when Johnny was out of town. Kreese, no matter what he was saying, he was still trying to establish himself. That's why he hung the picture and everything. It was never going to be what he was telling Johnny it was going to be, which was him being a pal. It feels like season 3, one of the things we can and should do is humanize Kreese a bit, but I feel like the groundwork almost hasn't been fully laid because all of the emotional scenes where Kreese has any type of potential honesty, he also smirks evilly at the camera afterwards.
Yep. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about this season. Like every time he shows up where there happens to be moments where it seems like maybe he's sincere, he'll have a quick flash of him smiling at us like, no worry, I'm Kreese, we're in a karate movie, I'm evil. I guess we'll probably do our own episode on speculation, but I mean, they have said that maybe someone will die in season 3, so I don't know, take from that what you will. A lot of people do think maybe it'd be Kreese, but I guess we'll have to see. I'm very excited. I can't wait for season 3. What do you think, people listening? Where do you think things are headed? What would you like to see? What characters would you like to see return? Let us know at showswhatyouknow@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's right. Showswhatyouknow@gmail.com. And you can, of course, go to showswhatyouknow.com. We discuss a lot of other television shows on there. And I'm sure we'll have, I mean, depending on the timing, we still don't know when season 3 is coming. But like, I have a bonsai tree now. I'm pretty sure we could do an episode just about the tending of bonsai trees, because I think you're growing some as well. So, depending on if we need to, I'm sure we can get some more episodes out there in wait for season 3. But until then, Jim, I just have one more thing.
Oh, what's that?
Strike first.
Strike hard.
No mercy.